From the station that made country music famous, 650 AM WSM, this is a Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast. Hi, it's Charlie Matos, and in this episode, we sit down with Matt Thomas, Scott Thomas, Josh McSwain of Parmalee. They would help us celebrate 95 years of WSM radio. They would be WSM at 95 disc jockeys, and they joined us to chat about that. Zoomed with us on Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Well, perhaps as we welcome you back on Circle Television all over the country and the world now with streaming platforms and smart TVs, and a lot of people are, they already got their Zumo addiction going at xumo.tv. That's one way to see it. And all over the world, 650 AM WSM, WSMonline.com, and the app download. And 95 years of WSM in the Grand Ole Opry, where I have introduced these guys many times when they have performed. Welcome, Parmalee, to Coffee, Country, and Cody, -1. Okay. Do we know Barry Knox's whereabouts?
He's actually at home with his newborn. He just had a baby, so we're giving him a little time off for that.
Good for you.
Being a new dad,
Well, I first remember meeting you. You'll never remember this, but in all the times we have shared the stage somewhere along the way, either at the Opry or public performance, ACMs, CMAs, related performances, outdoor shows, and that kind of thing. I first met you at the CMA Music Festival in the lunchroom, where it kind of becomes a green room for artists who either they show up and they go to the green room and wait for their call time for autographs and performance, or after they've performed, then they're in the cafeteria, if you will, that is set aside. And I remember you guys had just signed your deal and had big hopes and dreams. I don't even know if you had your first single out or not, but I was introduced to you at that point in time, and I still remember it to this day.
That's great, man. I remember that CMA Fest was the first time. That was our very first one. We had.
So what year is this? Help me.
It was 2012.
Okay.
2012. It was summer 2012. We must have had a good time. It just come out. It had done really well on the highway. I think we were number one for like 4 weeks on the highway. So just the excitement around it, and that was the very first time we'd seen a national crowd show up for us. We played that show in the Bud Light stage, and we just started seeing people show up, and they were singing, and we had done it back home, but we'd never been and seeing people from all over the country, because it was CMA Fest, after the show come up and introduce themselves and stand in line. So that was our very first, like, oh man, something's happening. We
were extremely nervous.
Yeah.
Well, we got Matt and Scott Thomas, who are brothers, Barry Knox, who is a cousin, and I mentioned, Josh McSwain, who's a childhood friend, and the cousin is Barry, whom we referenced earlier, Barry Knox. I want to refer to an article. I don't want this to be a downer, but to me it was inspiring to read your feature article in the Tennessean about 6 weeks ago. And it says, after Parmalee's shootout with robbers 10 years ago, the drummer made a surprise gesture. Can you give us an overview, a recap of that incident and the remedy that was the result?
Well, we were playing a pickup gig on a Monday night in a little small club in South Carolina, and as we were packing our gear up, two guys came on our bus and tried to rob us at gunpoint. Fired a gun at me and Scott were on the bus, or not a bus, it was an RV, a small RV. He fired demanding money, and Scott, being a concealed carrier, had a shootout in the RV, and he took care of both the assailants that came in. One of them's no longer here, the other one's in prison, but he got shot 3 times, and 5% chance of living, spent 40 days in the hospital, 10 in a coma. Finally pulled through somehow, and I think 6 months later we came back out to Nashville and finally got a record deal. But it's just an amazing story that we went through. But I think that the ultimate thing was at the hearing when the guy that survived was being sentenced.
Well, it was his parents and everybody was there, and he got sentenced. But I don't know. We were walking out, and I just felt the need to, tell the mom that I was sorry that the incident happened, and that it shouldn't have happened, and I forgive your son if and I just felt like I needed to do that for my own personal, I had to let it go. But that was, one of the officers said he'd never seen anybody apologize to someone like that in court.
Yeah.
And it was just walking out. It was just so I just felt like I had to do it. So.
Heck of a day.
Yeah,
it was a crazy day.
Well, I think of a literary line that is, "You are made of sterner stuff to be able to do that," and obviously have been given a deep spiritual gift.
Yeah.
You can read the article, by the way. You can go back and find it in the archive of the Tennessean. It was just
I think
remarkable.
I did a great job of that article.
You dug in.
Yeah.
It was tough, but
But
like
you
I
walked
said,
in when he walked in on the bus. They had a gun to your head, right? That's the first thing you saw was your brother with this assailant and robber holding a gun to his head. What on earth in that moment? Or did you even have time to think? You just reacted?
About maybe 5 seconds at the most. I mean, it was fast. I knew it was going to be bad as soon as I saw it. It was a bad situation.
Let's go back to something lighter when you talked about that first CMA Fest crowd and you said, "Oh, this is what it's supposed to be like." This had been were there more than 256 people out there during that CMA performance? I have a reason for asking. Because if there's more than 256 people, that is more than the entire population of your hometown, whom you named your band after, Parmalee.
That's right.
So you guys have you been musicians and gigging all your life, or dreaming of doing this all your lives?
Yeah, dreaming and picking up any kind of job we could do on the side just so we could take off on the weekends and play music,
Let me ask, did you ever cut house tobacco as a kid?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. My first job was picking cucumbers, but tobacco, when we were 13, we started working in tobacco. So
you work in tobacco. It will push you on to be successful at anything else but tobacco, right?
Yeah. Right. 100%. Yeah.
Set me up here. Let's talk about somebody else who's had medical issues of late. We talked about the robbery story and that shooting and all that followed, and the positive outcome, if there was one, with Scott's forgiveness to the family for one of the assailants, Matt and Scott Thomas and Josh McSwain this morning from Parmalee. But recently, just in the last few weeks, he was involved in a terrible automobile accident, and that's Blanco Brown. So tell us more about this music video with him called Just the Way, and we're going to feature it on WSM and Circle.
Just the Way is a song that we had in our pocket. We just needed something else to kind of bring it to life, and we've been friends with Blanco for even before he had his biggest song, The Get Up. We've been writing songs together, and we just thought it'd be a great idea to get him on. He's all about positivity and purpose, and I think the message in this song is definitely all about positivity and purpose. And I think these days, I think everybody needs to hear that right now, because you're always trying to be perfect in everything you do. And it's just saying that, we love you just the way God made you. And the video, I think that they did a tremendous job with that. Well, if you look at it, it's just all the characters he chose to be in the video, all walks of life, and it's just such a positive thing, bringing the rose in. We give the girls the rose, and it was all kind of on the spot. Like, you saw us give the roses to the girl, and everybody was still kind of nervous. Nobody knew what was happening.
Right.
So,
how about that? Well, I tell you what, let's watch all those characters come to life and listen to the music. You'll hear it, of course, around the world on WSM Radio and our stream at WSMOnline.com, app download, and you'll see it right now. You're going to see Parmalee, and this is the new work with Blanco Brown. It's called Just the Way.
I love you just the way God made you, girl. He don't make mistakes. What you call your imperfections, I call beautiful, babe. Tell him, Blanc.
The way your hair's in a mess in the morning when you open your eyes. The way an hour goes by when you say that you'll be ready in 5.
There they are with Blanco Brown, our guest Parmalee, Just the Way. So how did you choose the cast of ladies that were in the video?
That was the director. It was all him. I just thought he did an amazing job. And I remember walking in, and I just lit up when I saw the whole set. And we met all the girls and the people in it. It was really cool.
WSM at 95 tomorrow. You get to be disc jockeys at 5 o'clock all over the world. A dream come true, I know, as we celebrate 95 years of WSM in the Grand Ole Opry. You're in rarefied air as disc jockeys on this radio station. Hit some highlights on your playlist. I saw Kentucky Headhunters on there twice.
Yeah, man. We used to play that with my dad and his band. It was always great.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, man.
Oh, well,
Damn.
we were looking at playlists, people who've played themselves on their shows, and you get it out of the way early. You open with Parmalee, doing that song that we just saw and heard. And then likely suspects, Hank Jr., Travis Tritt, the Dixie Chicks, and more. That's tomorrow. That'll be at 5 o'clock. Thank you so much for coming on, fellas, and all the best with the new single, and all the best. This is continued recovery is going on as we speak, and that's Blanco Brown, their special guest. Parmalee on 650 AM WSM. This is where it all started. Going to play us out to the break, huh?
Thanks for listening to our Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast. Our program director at WSM Radio is J. Patrick Tittle. Our digital producer is Haley Hall. Marketing and promotions director is Amanda Cannon. And I'm Charlie Matos. If you like what you've heard, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And leave us a review on iTunes. It really does help new people find the show.